Hey, look at here. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. Delighted that you've tuned in, joined with me today on Strategies for Living. Well, we're all about helping us live healthier, happier, more peaceful lives in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, in our relationships here in the 21st century. We do that by engaging in important conversations with folks we like to call life strategists each and every time we do Strategies for Living. I have been looking forward to today because we don't have just one, we got two, count them, two life strategists. We're going to hit it all.
All right.
Stephen Parr and Louis R. Avallone. We're going to hit body, we're going to hit mind, we're going to hit spirit, we're going to hit relationships with you guys. I'm so excited that you guys are here.
Well, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. American Ground. Wow. New program, folks. News Radio 710 Keel, 1017 FM, and every weeknight, every weekday afternoon, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., American Ground, featuring these two gentlemen. A couple of weeks old now, right?
Yeah.
It is sounding, if you have not listened to it, folks, you've got to listen. It's got everything. It's got everything from mamas to whoa. And everything in between. And I do mean whoa, Stephen.
That's right. That's right. That's
Very
the
good.
whole the ending of it.
Now, I also got to say, because, before I even heard of the program, I heard of the book, Bright Spots, Big Country, What Makes America Great Again. And so this is just this is a double treat, a double lanyard for me, because you guys were going to get an invitation to come on and talk about the book. And
wow.
then here you are on American Ground on the radio every day. So we got a lot to talk about.
And the book kind of flowed into the radio show. The radio show came about because of the book and the success of the book.
So okay, Louis, you go back 150 years, your family
Sure.
goes back a long time.
Sure.
And your heritage, I happen to know your daddy.
Yeah.
And your mama. Sweet, sweet people.
Thank you.
And
Great parents.
your daddy came over here. Your folks came over, right?
Right.
As immigrants to this
Yeah,
country.
my dad came to this country in 1964. Didn't know any English whatsoever. Had family in Baton Rouge, cousins.
Right.
And they took him in, and as the story goes, he went for his first job interview, and they offered to pay him, of course, and they made a job offer to him, and he stopped them, and he said, "Before you decide what to pay me, why don't you wait and see what I can do?"
Wow.
And that was just for that time, and certainly the position that he was in, very remarkable and very different than the society that we live in today.
Amen.
So I tell folks, I've had a front row to the American dream all my life.
Amen.
And it has truly been a blessing.
Most folks probably know Avallone Door and Iron Works. You are now the CEO, the president of the company, but I would
Sure.
imagine Dad still kind of looks over things.
Sure,
you know?
of course.
Yeah.
I always value his advice. Even to this day, he's right on point.
Absolutely. And Stephen, you are no stranger to the television set.
Yeah.
Been around, chief meteorologist, KSLA,
Yeah.
for 120 years.
For 7, you were close. 7 years. Yeah, I was chief meteorologist for KSLA and went through several severe weather outbreaks. Covered Katrina, covered Rita, Ike, Gustav, all those storms as they came up.
So now, how did you guys come together to end up with Bright Spots, Big Country? Because you said the book came first, huh?
Sure.
It did.
Well, go ahead.
Well, after I left KSLA, I was doing another radio show. And left that one. I have a marketing company that
Right.
I was working on, and I did a radio ad for Louis and for the Republican Party during
We should
the
also
days.
mention, I was remiss,
Yeah.
you are, what are you?
Chairman
Chairman of the Republican
Caddo
Party.
Party.
Caddo Republican Party, okay?
And so I did a radio ad for y'all, and that's how we kind of met. We met on the radio show, the other radio show I was working on, and then I did an ad for you guys, and that was when Louis had this brilliant idea, this bright idea.
Well, it was something that I had been thinking about for a long time, and that was the fact of the matter is that people don't wake up in the morning and want to follow a political party.
Right.
They want to wake up in the morning and follow their passion. They want to do the things in life that are going to create a better America for their children and their grandchildren.
Absolutely.
And so,
And that goes beyond party. That goes beyond Republican, Democrat, whatever.
and I've always been a fan of motivational speaking, of motivational speakers. Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, certainly all the ones that you might think of as well. I've listened to those, and those have shaped my life in ways that are remarkable. And so I started thinking about the fact that when you talk about the greatness within each of us, it transcends whether you're a liberal or whether you're a conservative. It resonates with each of us because we are each created in God's image. There is greatness within each of us. But
Amen.
sometimes where you are raised, sometimes the people in your lives might be someone who's telling you it can't be possible.
Right.
That no one from our family has ever gone to college. That no one from our neighborhood has ever achieved that type of success.
So who do you think you are?
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And so I said, well, we've got to talk about politics because that's how we shape our communities. We elect leaders. But if the quality of our leadership in our communities doesn't improve, how can we expect our communities to follow suit? And so, anyway, so Stephen was in the office and I said, hey, I've been thinking about this. I can't do this alone. Would you be interested in working with me? And that's where the conversation.
So first the book. How did the radio show come to be?
Well, we did the book, and the book is all about stories of success.
Yes.
Instead of focusing on what's going wrong and how do you fix that, we focus on what's going right and how do you do more of it. Every
Right.
story that's in here is something that can be replicated from one community to another across the country. So in order to launch the book, we asked Keel, and we said, hey, we'd love to do a 4th of July special for you. Because a lot of radio stations on holidays, they run reruns,
Right,
Okay,
right.
TV, radio,
Right.
they all do that, right? So we said, instead of you guys running a rerun, what if we did a 3-hour special for you? And what if instead what we did was we asked famous people, we asked common people, regular people, people that you know, people you may not know, what if we asked them, what makes America great?
Wow.
So we just, and they went, okay, fine, try it, give it
Yeah,
a shot.
yeah.
So we then started sending out emails to folks, and the very first email we got back was from Tucker Carlson on Fox News.
Wow.
He was the very first one to reply back, and he said, I love the concept, I'm in. So once you get Tucker, it becomes a little easier to get some other people.
I would say so.
We got Diamond and Silk. We got Tommy Lahren. We got Sweet Lou Dunbar, a Harlem Globetrotter who grew up right here
I love
in
it.
northern Louisiana.
Alveda King,
Dr. Alveda King, the
Wow.
niece of Martin
Martin Luther King,
Dr.
yes.
Robert Jeffries from Dallas,
Pastor of
Yes.
Dallas, and from Walt Disney World Resorts.
Lee Cockrell.
Lee Cockrell, yes. Lee Cockrell was there too. So he had
Wow.
run he didn't have a college education, and yet he ended up managing 40,000 employees as the CEO of Walt Disney World. How do you get that point? And they all came back with unique answers, but each answer told a story of what America is, what America can be, and why people believe in the American dream still individually. Well, that was a great radio show.
I would say so.
And
It's a
so
lot of
Keel
fun.
went, hey, we have an opening, and we love what you did on that. Would you do a show for us? And it hadn't been in the plan originally, but
No.
it still falls in line with what we're trying to talk about, which is nobody wakes up to be a Republican or a Democrat that day. People are waking up trying to do what they do best. The American dream is to work hard to make life better for your kids, for the next generation.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's what it's all about.
I've got 10 grandkids. I want to know that the world's going to be a safe and a peaceful place for them.
Yeah, and while we may have conservative beliefs, and I know conservatism is a nasty word in some areas of our city and parts of our country, we're not here to promote conservatives or to denigrate liberals. We're not trying to persuade you from one political party or the other. We want to persuade you to believe in you, because we know that when you believe in you, you won't ever vote for someone who doesn't believe in you,
I love it. I love it. The book is Bright Spots, Big Country. Louis R. Avallone, Stephen Parr, they are our life strategists today. Their program is American Ground on News Radio 710 Keel and 101.7 FM from 6 to 7 every weekday afternoon. We're going to dive in to talk about the program more when we come back. More strategies for living to come. Stay right where you are.
If you're like most Americans, you may be surprised to learn where some of the best-known calypso songs originated and how you can enjoy them at home today. Though such songs as Deo,
Daylight come and me want go home.
Jamaica Farewell,
Down the way where the nights are gay and the sun shines daily on the mountain top. I took a trip on the sailing ship, and when I reached Jamaica, I made a stop.
Island in the Sun,
Oh, island in the sun, built to me by my father's hand. All my days I will sing in praise of your forest waters, your shining sand.
and many more may sound like they sprang from roving troubadours. They were all written by the same man. Irving Bergey was born in 1924 and attended Juilliard School of Music on the GI Bill. Then in the 1950s, he met singer Harry Belafonte. Their association led to the album Calypso, the first to sell 1 million copies. Bergey's songs have been heard on Broadway. TV. In movies. And in many places where people love to sing. Deo even went into space, used as a wake-up call on the shuttle Atlantis. He also wrote Barbados' national anthem, as well as the Christmas evergreen Mary's Boy Child. Now his life and music can be seen and heard on an exciting tuneful DVD available at irvingbergey.com. At that site, you can also get CDs of his music and a 25-tune songbook, as well as his riveting autobiography, Deo. Here's food for thought. Each American farmer, on average, feeds 155 people around the world. A growing trend is that farmers are producing and selling more crops, livestock, and other agricultural products directly to regional outlets and individual consumers than ever before. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, nearly 150,000 farmers sell directly to consumers, accounting for over $1 billion in food sales. In addition, farmers are more efficient, using less land with fewer resources to produce 40% of the world's corn on only 20% of the total area of corn acres harvested. The result is that American farmers and ranchers, who make up less than 2% of the population, produce enough food to feed America and ship more than $100 billion worth of products around the world. This increase in yield from agriculture is coming at an important time. Experts project that to keep up with the Earth's expanding population, farmers will have to produce more food in the next 40 years than they have in the past 10,000 years combined.
And welcome back into the television version of Strategies for a Living. Obviously, you're watching us, but you can listen to us too. News Radio 710 Keel, 101.7 FM, Sunday mornings, 9:05 to 10. 25 years old, Strategies for a Living is.
Wow.
I'm getting old.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So tune in and listen. You can also find us www.strategiesforliving.com and on healthylife.net out of Los Angeles on Thursdays. That's Strategies for Living. Today, we have got wonderful new program host from News Radio 710 Keel and 101.7 FM, Stephen Parr and Louis R. Avallone from American Ground, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Got to tune in and listen to this program. And real quickly, last segment, we were talking about the 3-hour special.
That's right.
And I asked you on break, I missed it. I don't know how I missed, but you can listen to it. Any one of us can listen to it, right? On iTunes?
On iTunes, go down and it's under Carpooling with Conservatives. That's the name of the podcast we posted in. All of the segments from the show are in there, all the interviews
Wow.
we did. Each one's its own different podcast, a 10-minute podcast, and you can go and download. It's all free. You can just download it right now on iTunes. Again, Carpooling with Conservatives is how you can get that whole 3-hour show.
So the program, I know it's early yet, guys, but what do you want to do? I mean, obviously this is a show. You guys have hit the ground running. There's been a lot of talk in the community. You guys have generated a lot of buzz, if you will.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to see a year from now, 5 years from now, 25 years from now, when American Ground is celebrating its 25th anniversary?
Well,
what are we seeing?
I think that we believe that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so to the extent that we can extrapolate, or we can rather remove the veneer of whether something is a conservative idea or a Democrat idea or a libertarian type idea, and we just go back to what works, what is working in our country, what is working in our community, and let's do more of that. Maybe you don't understand why it works. Maybe I don't understand why it works. It doesn't matter.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, if it's in improving people's lives, that's what we want to go after.
Yeah.
And so the dialogue has to be more about what's working rather than what's broken and how to fix it.
We close out every show with the phrase, may your pursuit of happiness bring you joy. And the reason we say that is because the pursuit of happiness is in the Declaration of Independence, the founding document of America. America is the first country that was built on an idea. And if you want to know what that idea was, all you have to do is read the second sentence of the Declaration of Independence, and it tells you. And it's that we have the right to pursue our happiness. And as everybody goes around and pursues their own happiness, that's what creates the economy as a whole. Okay? You create the economy as a whole, you pull taxes out of that, that's what creates and funds the government. And the government's main job is to protect our right to pursue our happiness.
To pursue that happiness.
So it's a nice little cycle. We call it the Liberty Cycle.
Right.
The point of that is that if you're just going out and pursuing your happiness, you may find happiness, but it will be fleeting. What we want is for you to find something deeper, something more meaningful, something that lasts, and that's joy. And that's what the program's all about. It's not about whether you are voting for Republicans or whether you're voting for Democrats. It's whether you are able to find joy in your life and whether the system that's around us promotes that idea for each and every individual.
And it's not all dry politics. In fact, most of it is not dry politics. It's fun. The show is fun to listen to.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
The mamas. Who came up with the idea of the mamas?
Well, the mamas, Terry Netterville and Denise Arthur, and we just thought it would be a super idea. There aren't enough female voices talking about politics.
Right.
For a lot of women, they don't want to hear it because it's so divisive. It doesn't add any joy to their lives.
Right.
And so we thought, let's try to change that. Let's try to engage the women as well as the men.
Absolutely.
But again, when we're talking about joy, it's hard to have joy when you don't feel empowered, when you feel that you're a victim of your circumstances, when you feel that the system is somehow set up to cause you to fail.
We live in such a victim mentality, such a victim world. Right
Well, it's
now.
so much more enticing to put victims on the news
Absolutely.
night after night after night.
Drama sells, guys.
right.
Drama sells.
It does.
But if you find somebody that's making good choices, that's living their life in a generous way, those stories are there on the news, but they're far and few between.
You even let me on the program so far. He got
did.
to phone a friend.
Got to phone a friend. We try and play some of these games that makes it easy for people at home to recognize and to understand. So
Right.
phone a friend's one of them, kind of taking that idea. But this is the other part of it, of the idea behind phone a friend, is when we're talking to someone who may hold ideas we disagree with, that doesn't make them our enemy.
Right.
So if we're going to have that conversation, we have to approach it as if the person that we're talking to is our friend. And since the person we're talking to pretty much is a citizen of this country, a member of this country, a fellow American,
They get the right to.
we need them to be our friends.
Absolutely.
So we have to talk to people that we disagree with in a way that isn't. It's the best thing Barack Obama ever said. We must learn to disagree without being disagreeable.
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree with that, and that's the idea behind Phone a Friend. People we agree with, those are our friends. People we disagree with, they're still our
They're
friends.
still our friends, yeah. Wonderful. Bright Spots, Big Country, which is the book that really you could say launched American Ground, full of stories. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite story, Stephen?
There's a very interesting story. One night, January 3rd, 2015, a lady's in her car. She and her husband have been out there, and they're driving home, and they stop by a gas station. It's 8:30 at night, well-lit gas station, nice part of town, just outside is Springfield, Springfield, Missouri. And in her back of the minivan, she's got her 4 daughters. And she's sitting there, husband's on the other side of the car, pumping gas. And she looks out her window, and a man she's never seen before, carrying a machete, starts walking towards her car. And as he gets closer and closer to the car, this guy's starting to scare her, so she goes to lock the door. She misses, and she rolls down the window instead.
Ooh.
He now starts climbing inside the car with his knife, with her 4 daughters in the back, and she screams to her husband on the other side of the car, "Matt, get your gun." Because Missouri is a right to carry state. All right, so he had a license to carry a concealed weapon.
Right.
The man with the knife realized very quickly he had brought a knife to a gunfight. And he says to Cassie, she's sitting in the passenger seat, he says to her, "You're lucky he has a gun." And he backs away and walks off. Matt didn't have to fire a shot. Just having the gun allowed him to save as many as 6 lives that night.
Absolutely.
And that's
maybe
the whole,
more.
And that's the whole point of the right to carry. That's the whole point of the right to bear arms. As our founding fathers said, an unarmed man can be attacked with more confidence than an armed man. That was in the Federalist Papers. So Cassie was unarmed. The attacker had confidence. As soon as he realized Matt was armed, the attacker no longer had confidence.
Absolutely.
It saves lives.
Change the entire ground, if you will.
That's right.
And you look at the statistics across the country in terms of violence in those states where folks are more frequent or more likely to be armed compared to those states or cities like Chicago, where you have murders after murders after murders. And in fact, the gun laws there simply aren't being enforced, despite the fact that they have the most strictest gun laws in the entire country. So while someone listening to this may say, "Oh, these guys are just all pro-gun and they're trying to promote that," that's not the point. The point is, let's look at the statistics with respect to, do stricter gun control laws work? Does it improve the lives and save the lives of the people within that community? Then let's have a discussion about it.
Just look at the last 2 hurricanes. You had Hurricane Harvey come up, and you had Hurricane Irma.
Right.
Harvey came into Houston.
Right.
The number one conversation in Houston, you saw these signs, people posting in their neighborhoods, "You loot, we shoot," right? Looting arrests in Houston were much lower. Incidents of looting during Hurricane Harvey much lower than the incidents of looting all the way up and down through Florida. There were a lot more arrests and incidents of looting in Florida. There are people who actually even looted a gun shop in Florida and got surrounded by cops before they could leave.
Wow.
But that's because of the mentality of the people in Texas were armed, and the criminals know they're armed. And it changes the calculus in someone's mind about whether they're going to commit a crime or not.
Absolutely. Now, on the program,
Yes.
do people get to call in? Do they get to feedback some with you?
Well, actually, we ask for every day. We ask you for feedback, and one of the easiest ways to do that is on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So you go to facebook.com/American Ground Radio, and you can send us a note, you can send us a comment, and we actually ask those questions a lot of times on air of Terry Netterville and Denise Arthur. We asked our mamas some of those questions that people are posting on our Facebook
And they're
page.
just awesome, by the way.
They are
That is
great.
They
my
are. They are.
favorite segment of the entire show, very frankly.
Yeah. in terms of getting the book, best place?
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com?
Yeah.
All right.
You can go to Barnes & Noble, you can go to
Barnes &
Nook.
Noble has it here?
They don't have it on the shelves here locally, but you can go to barnesandnoble.com.
Okay.
You go to amazon.com. It's on Nook. It's on Kindle. iBooks.
We got to work to get it in as many places, because I still love my bookstore.
There you go.
We
That's
gotta
right.
love it, because that's where I graze. I was in there grazing Saturday nights.
Right,
Sure.
We
absolutely.
got to get Bright Spots Big Country
Okay.
in Barnes & Noble. I'll work on that.
You got it.
Good.
In
Thank
the
you.
meantime, folks, you got to listen. You got to listen every weekday afternoon. News Radio 710 Keel, 1017 FM, American Ground, the newest program in town, Stephen Parr, Louis R. Avalone, and I got to tell you, listen. You don't want to miss a program. There's big things coming from these two. So I hope you'll tune in. I also hope you'll tune in on Sunday mornings and listen to Strategies for Living on News Radio 710 Keel from 9:05 to 10. And we got to have you guys back.
Love to do it.
We got to.
Be
30
glad
minutes
to.
goes way too quick, so we got to have you guys back. Folks, I hope you'll come back and join us, especially if you enjoyed our conversation with Louis and Stephen. Come back again for the next time right here on Strategies for Living.